Rome did not march to Carrhae expecting a battle. In 53 BC, a Roman army crossed into Mesopotamia, believing the outcome was already decided. The legions had crushed kingdoms larger than Parthia. They had broken Carthage, absorbed Greece, and marched unchallenged across the Mediterranean world. This was supposed to be another extension of Roman order. The man leading the army was Marcus Licinius Crassus. He was not Rome's greatest general, but he was one of its most powerful men. Wealthy beyond measure, politically dominant, and eager to secure a military victory equal to his rivals. To Crassus, the East was unfinished business. The Parthian Empire controlled the lands beyond the Euphrates. It was rich, stable, and unfamiliar to Rome. Roman intelligence underestimated it. Roman culture dismissed it. Roman planning treated it as another opponent that would stand, fight, and collapse. That assumption shaped everything that followed. Crassus assembled a traditional Roman force: heavy infantry, disciplined formations, tightly controlled command. Legionaries trained to advance together, lock shields, and force battle at close range. This system had worked for centuries. What Rome did not bring was flexibility. The Parthians did not fight like Rome's previous enemies. Their strength was cavalry, fast, mobile, and equipped for distance. Their armies avoided decisive clashes and relied on movement, endurance, and missile fire. Rome knew this in theory. It did not understand it in practice. Crassus ignored local advice. He declined experienced guides. He chose a direct route through open terrain, flat desert with little cover, little water, and no natural boundaries. The legions marched forward anyway. They crossed the Euphrates and moved deeper into unfamiliar land, expecting to force contact, impose order, and end the campaign quickly. Roman confidence was intact. Supply lines stretched thin, but discipline held. Then the Parthians appeared. Not in massed ranks, not in a defensive line, not where Rome expected them. They appeared at a distance, mounted, spread wide, and moving constantly. The Roman army halted. Carrhae was about to teach Rome a lesson it had never learned before, and it would learn it in a single day. Contact came without collision. Near Battle of Carrhae, the Parthian army revealed itself not as a line, but as motion. Mounted archers spread across the horizon, riding laterally rather than advancing. There was no center to break, no flank to turn. Crassus ordered the legions forward. This was standard Roman doctrine. Advance in formation, maintain cohesion, force the enemy to stand and be destroyed. The Parthians did not stand. As the Romans moved, the Parthians withdrew. Not in retreat, but in control. Distance was preserved carefully, deliberately. Then the arrows began to fall. At first, Roman shields held. Legionaries locked ranks and raised their scuta. The formations absorbed the volleys as they had absorbed missiles before. Roman discipline did what it was designed to do, but the arrows did not stop. Parthian horse archers carried composite bows, smaller than Roman bows, but far more powerful. Their range exceeded anything the legions could answer with. Each rider carried multiple quivers, resupplied constantly by camel trains waiting beyond Roman reach. This was not harassment. It was sustained fire. The legions attempted to adapt. Cavalry was sent forward to drive the archers off. Light infantry followed, hoping to close distance. The Parthians simply widened the circle. Roman cavalry was outmatched and driven back. Light troops were isolated and destroyed. Each attempt to break the pattern only deepened Roman exposure. The infantry remained. As the hours passed, Roman formations compressed tighter and tighter. Shields overlapped. Men crowded inward, seeking protection. Movement slowed. Heat built beneath armor and iron. The desert offered no relief. There was no cover to advance toward, no ground to anchor a defensive line. Every direction was open, and every open space carried arrows. Roman discipline depended on momentum, on closing distance and ending the fight. Carrhae denied that closure. Shields grew heavier as arrows accumulated, arms numbed. Men collapsed not from wounds, but exhaustion. When soldiers fell, gaps opened. When gaps opened, arrows found flesh. Still, the legions did not break. By late afternoon, the Roman army was still standing, but it was no longer fighting. It was enduring, and endurance, in open desert, against an enemy that never tired, was not victory. It was delay. As daylight faded at Battle of Carrhae, the Roman army faced a truth it had no answer for. It could not advance, and it could not remain where it stood. The legions had endured hours of pressure, but endurance had limits. Water was running low. Men were exhausted. Horses were spent. The formations that had held under fire were now immobile, pinned in open desert with no cover and no momentum. The Parthians did not rush to finish them. They waited. That restraint was deliberate. Nightfall was approaching, and darkness favored confusion, not discipline. The Parthians understood this. Rome did not. Crassus ordered a withdrawal. What followed was not a maneuver, but a fragmentation. Units began to move without coordination. Commands failed to carry. Cohesion dissolved into columns and clusters, each reacting to pressure independently. In the desert, retreat meant exposure. Darkness did not bring relief. Roman units moved without a shared direction, guided more by instinct than command. Some followed officers, others followed sound or the movement of nearby men. Many simply followed whoever was still standing. The desert magnified every mistake. Dust clouds hid friend from foe. Shouted orders dissolved before they reached the next rank. When formations stopped, they became targets. When they moved too quickly, they broke apart. Parthian cavalry exploited this mercilessly. They did not charge the mass of the army. They cut at its edges, picking off isolated groups, surrounding stragglers, and vanishing before resistance could form. Roman discipline, built for cohesion, had nothing to anchor itself to anymore. Each loss made the next inevitable. Parthian cavalry harassed the movement relentlessly. They struck the edges, isolated stragglers, and vanished again. Roman soldiers who fell behind were cut down. Standards disappeared into dust and darkness. Some formations reached the town of Carrhae. Others never made it. In the chaos, Crassus attempted negotiations. He met Parthian representatives under a flag of truce, hoping to salvage what remained of the army. The meeting failed. Accounts differ on exactly how Marcus Licinius Crassus died, but the result was unmistakable. Rome's commander was killed. His army, leaderless and scattered, ceased to exist as a coherent force. By the end, tens of thousands of Roman soldiers were dead or captured. The legions had not been routed in a single decisive clash. They had been dismantled, methodically, patiently, and without spectacle. The Parthians captured Roman standards. Legionary eagles, symbols of Roman authority, were taken east. For Rome, this was not just defeat, it was humiliation. Carrhae shattered an illusion Rome had carried for centuries, that discipline and order could overcome any enemy, anywhere, if applied forcefully enough. That illusion never fully returned. Rome would fight Parthia again. It would win battles, it would lose others, but it would never again assume the East would break the way the West had. Carrhae marked the edge of Roman certainty. Beyond it lay a world Rome could not simply conquer,